Hey guys, welcome back to the next episode of MM3 Mobile part number 33. We're getting quite far into this one, but I'm still enjoying it. Hopefully you are too. Obviously let me know in the comment section down below what you enjoy about this series the most, and obviously if there's anything you'd like me to improve on in the future. Normally they will be live commentaries, which I definitely prefer watching and definitely prefer making, but of course we had the recording issues, meaning that this is a post commentary. Now, some more famous mechanics becoming available to us here. A French and one from Denmark, Danish, I guess is the best way of saying it. A Danish mechanic, and also we had someone else there who we didn't quite scroll across to. Interesting, 17 out of 20 for the French and 20 out of 20 for the Danish. So pretty decent, but it's a lot of money. 370,000 per race. So I didn't decide to do anything just then. But I did decide to upgrade the supply network. We're getting there. We're going to be pretty much maxed out with our bonus activated soon. 16 out of 24, as we've said before. It's, well, 2/3, isn't it? Yeah, 2/3 of that is complete. So we haven't got a huge amount more of that to do, really, which is quite cool. So just looking at the cars right now, I think what I was doing right now is just making a note of what parts need to be made, because there are certain parts on our cars across both of them which just are poor and we definitely need to improve on. So new suspension was one of those things, and new gearbox was also one of those things. You can see we're just going through here and trying to make sure that we have a nice brand new gearbox for the next race here. But that money, it doesn't grow on trees, so we're going to have to be careful that we don't spend too much money on new parts, and a suspension specialist as well. So that's putting us down towards 20 million, which I guess is a nice healthy figure, but we're going to have to put a bit of money aside for next year's car, which I was just checking there, unlocks in a couple of races time. So this is a 12 race season here, so you're going to be getting quite a lot of episodes of the championship. Don't worry about that. We'll be doing one episode per race, and I probably will skip the invitationals, but that's just because I want to do this series. I really want to get invested in the open wheel championship, and then maybe once, if we ever get to a stage where we're winning comfortably in this series, I might go and do the GT championship. We will see. I'd like to. I definitely would like to. I think it'd be interesting to try and master the game in that way of winning the top tiers in all of the championships. Obviously this is the pinnacle, but we've won the endurance championship, but we haven't really done too much in terms of GT championship stuff, except from the invitationals, of course. So selecting our 10th and above sponsor, our trusty sponsor that we go with every single round. But the Chinese Grand Prix is up next here, Beijing GP. So interesting track, of course, a bit of a mix of high speed moments and also some very technical moments as well on the track. So you've got to have a good car balance and good setup here. I suppose that's the saying with every track, but it's pretty evident here, because otherwise you'll really struggle. So we might, if we get a good setup on here today, we might be able to topple a couple of the top teams, but they have such an advantage over us, about 6 or 7 tenths of a second at least. It's going to be very tough for me to really maximise the setup enough to get ahead of them. So not a perfect start to this. You can see right away we are struggling to get the perfect setup, but it's not a shabby start. 42% isn't terrible. Now Stuart going here, not a perfect start, but we should be able to get one that's at least 35% here in the opening stages. I'm not going to risk that. So 36, which is pretty decent. Both cars exiting the pit lane as a plane flies into shot. So we have a Panther car just in front. I think that's Lucio. Everyone is pretty much out on track at this stage now. A very busy track for qualifying here. It's a pretty quick layout. I'm seeing some purple sectors there. Nixon going purple in the first 2 sectors. And pretty good lap there. Only 1/10 of a second behind Besson. That's a really good lap there from Nixon. That is very surprising. He's actually gone quicker on his first run then. I think that was Lucier, who of course is in one of the top teams, one of the top 3 teams. So that's very impressive for us here. Very happy with that. And surely we should only improve once putting on a better setup. Let's keep our fingers crossed. So 84% with Nixon's setup. And with Stewart, we're currently sitting at 36%. So that's a pretty good start there. Already bumping it up to 62%, then 75%, then 80%, and I'll not risk that any further. So exiting pit lane, and we're currently sitting on 6th and 8th on the grid. But I think more importantly, we're genuinely quicker than Lucier, which is great. I mean, maybe Lucier had a bit of a problem. I'd say maybe the Panther is the worst of the top 3 teams. That's what it looks like, at least. I mean, Noir's P4 and Lucier's P7. But it's very tough to tell between the Steimer and the Rossini which one's quicker. Now, what confused me at this stage was, look, neither of my drivers are going quicker. So Nixon, I don't know, I just don't understand it. Why he was so much slower with a much better setup on? Maybe he just had a masterful lap that he just could not replicate. But Stewart was the same as well. So maybe it was some sort of thing with the setup and the track just not gelling at a later stage of the setup window, because it just didn't really work. Nothing seemed to work at this stage, and we exited pit lane. I was happy because we were only 2 tenths away, well, even less than that, just over 1 tenth away from being second on the grid, which is pretty incredible. And you feel like with a bit of extra, well, it's changed now, but with a little bit of an extra better setup than we had earlier on, we should have gone better, surely. Stewart managed to gain a little bit of time, managed to get ahead of Carlos Sainz and Strambini, or Strambi I should say, but not enough to close anywhere near Lucier. And Nixon just couldn't improve at all, even though he had a much better setup, which I don't know, it just really confused me. Oh well. So, clear skies over here. Stewart and Nixon, we're ready to go. So, soft compound tyres. We might just about manage to do a 2 soft compound tyre race. We'll see. It's a possibility. So the lights are coming on at the top of the screen, and we're going to be looking for them to go out for this race to start. Nixon in his best result in quali so far. And away we go. Obviously a lot of jumbling around in the opening couple of stages. Nixon's doing pretty good so far. Sitting there in P6, P7. Pretty strong. I mean, we expected Lucier to go past, but he's jumping up and down the order. He's in the fight. He can fight for now, which is good. And, oh no, he goes and throws it away just as I say that. I forgot that happened. So thanks, Nixon. You had a great qualifying, and then Noir's got a drive-through penalty. So it's all going on in the opening stages here. Noir's dropped down to P16. Nixon's just jumping up P12, P13, but you dropped down to P15 originally, and it was just all over the place. And dilemma for Nixon himself, saying, I want to use a bit of extra fuel, mate. I've got so much extra fuel. And I was like, yeah, fair play. And yeah, these next few laps were just me being slightly annoyed that Nixon threw away such a good position, but Stewart had kind of inherited 6th place because, I mean, let's be perfectly honest, the first race of the season was a bit of a fluke, but this looks a bit more like genuine pace, and we're much quicker than the Katana by the look of it here. So I was really wondering what to do in terms of in terms of strategy here. Stewart, I decided to come in here, and Nixon, I wasn't sure. I was conserving his tyres because I was like, yeah, we want to try and do something a little bit different here, so we want to make sure that we can pit 1 lap later and just hope this works. Let's see. So what do I do with Nixon? Do I keep him on the softs? Yeah, I do. So let's see. I don't know what I was doing now. And obviously don't want to push too much with the fuel, otherwise we'll just completely run out. And Noir's pretty much caught up to the back of us here, even after a drive through, which I think just highlights the pace advantage of the faster 3 teams, and Noir gets ahead of us on the pit exit. But Stewart just behind Strambini. Why do I keep saying Strambini? It's Strambi. Just behind Strambi, even though Strambi hadn't pitted. So that was a pretty good one, and actually got ahead of De Graaf, which is pretty impressive. But De Graaf on the soft compound tyres manages to fly through. Now Carlos Sainz and Solar both need to pit, and they both do at the same time, which makes no sense as teammates, but they do. Solar, thanks to double stacking, loses a whole bunch of time and drops into P15. So currently sitting in P6. Noir is closing down. Is he going to be able to get past? And hopefully Nixon can get past Carlos Sainz. I mean, if we can get past Carlos Sainz, that would pretty much bring us back to where our normal positions would be, I'd say. and he should be able to do it. They're about on the same compound of tyre. They are on the same compound of tyres. Carlos Sainz has slightly more worn tyres, and at this point I was like, Stuart, you just got to push it. You got to just push it and see what we do here. Can we keep up with Noir? I didn't think so. And then Nixon, I was like, how is he not catching Carlos Sainz? Carlos Sainz has got a worse car, worse tyres. I'm going even fast fuel mix. I'm still not catching. I was like, what's happening here? What is happening here? But nonetheless, this race definitely didn't go quite as planned, but we got pretty much the points I expected out of it here. You can see on the last lap of the race, instead of being 7th and 8th, it looks like this was going to be 7th and 9th, which, yeah, we came under more pressure from Carlos Sainz than we did attacking Carlos Sainz with Nixon. So only 6 seconds separating our two cars in the end of that race. Obviously one of them went for a spin very early on, dropping them many places and many seconds down. But I was a little bit disappointed we couldn't quite get 7th and 8th in that race. That was to be expected. And maybe I feel like if Nixon hadn't spun, there might have been a slim chance he might have been able to finish ahead of Noir in that race. Of course, obviously Noir having that penalty. But swings and roundabouts, of course, some things go your way, some don't. But anyway, I'll see you guys around soon. Thanks for watching. It's been Alex Mahadio. Goodbye.